I was a very bad student. This is actually my grade from high school in geometry and algebra. I hated being in class. All the time I sat in class, I didn't feel like myself. I felt alienated being in class during school. So what I preferred was to actually go and do music and have parties and actually organize parties, drink with my friends. It was a lot more productive for me than sitting in class. Now, this problem continued with me also to university. It was the same, but a bit different. I prefer to create activism with my fellow students. I prefer to go and recruit people to do social stuff in Jerusalem, where I grew up. I prefer to organize demonstration, and I really try to find every little idea not to get into the class. And actually, this is the final grade of my law degree. It might seem like a high grade, but it's not. It's actually the exact center of the whole class. I was average, I was mediocre, and I loved it. And a point I want to make using my own personal experience in the education system is that education is going through a value crisis, a worldwide value crisis. People expect things from education, and education does not give them those things. And I like to propose two explanations, one specific to education and one more broader than education, why this value crisis is actually happening. So first of all, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an educational entrepreneur. I work with technologies, universities, and schools. And when we build a product, we want to understand if the product is good. The best way to understand if the product works is to see how users use it. It's called user behavior. Simple. So if we look at education as a technology product, let's look at the user behavior of users of education. So first of all, we prefer to cut class. We prefer not being in the class. Most students have cut class. Most students prefer being outside of the classroom. Sometimes they need to work. Sometimes it's just they find more value with their friends sitting outside and talk. So we cut class. The second user behavior is we binge learn. You obviously know Netflix, right? So Netflix introduced us a new way of looking at television. We download all the episodes and we just sit on a Saturday morning watching all 10 episodes of a specific show, right? It's the same way that we learn. We put ourselves inside a room for 3-4 days before the big test, and we learn. And we finish the test and we forget everything. It's binge learning and it's not real learning. The third interesting user behavior is that when people finish education, when they finish high school, university, they feel lost in life. They do not know what they want to do. They do not know how to continue in their professional life. It seems that education does not create the value it was meant to create. The second idea I want to propose, or the second way of looking at this crisis, is from a broader point of view. The job market all over the world is actually changing very, very fast. More than 50% of jobs that exist today will not exist in 5 years from now. Think, for example, of social media. Today, it's a nice job. 5 years ago, it didn't exist. Most of the jobs will go some kind of big transformation, and the education system was not designed to go with this transformation. And the reason is that education systems were designed around knowledge. Think about, how the teachers stand in a classroom for 45 minutes or an hour and a half and just give you knowledge and knowledge and knowledge. It's the way it was designed. But we see all around the world that there is a big, big change, and this change is called skills. Skills are growing faster and faster inside the education system. And I'd like to explain what is skills through this guy. As I told you before, I'm a big hip-hop fan. This is what I did in high school. And Kendrick Lamar is actually one of the most important artists in the planet right now. He's a hip-hop artist. And what's interesting with Kendrick Lamar's story is that he grew up in Compton. Compton is maybe the most violent and poorest neighborhood in Los Angeles. And I asked myself, how Kendrick became such a worldwide name? It was not because of education. It was because Kendrick was able to teach himself what he needed to do. He was able to craft a great message. He was able to interact with his fans. He was able to convince music producer to do his work. He was able to commercialize his music. Kendrick, as we say in hip-hop, has skills. This is a graffiti I did when I was 16. Nobody taught me how to do a graffiti, but I did it anyway. I used this graffiti in order to publicize the parties I was doing. I was able to organize those parties just because I wanted to. I wanted to do it, so I did it. Nobody taught me. And this is the main point I want to say. Education today is changing from knowledge to skills. This is an important report that the OECD, a big economic organization, issued this year that tried to build this new paradigm for education. How education system can change themselves from a knowledge-based system to a skill-based system. I want to give you examples from clients that work with me back home on how the education system is changing. So this is Eureka World. Eureka World is an open platform game. It's a game, a 3D game, a virtual game, in which students can meet each other in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom, and create big projects together. They build big stuff. They cooperate with students from other countries. This is actually a skill learning platform, Eureka. Eureka helps the education system to switch from knowledge to skills. Another interesting example is this. This is me and Ruby. Ruby is my dog, which I miss a lot. And we were contracted to design a space in a new school that is building in a big municipality in Israel called Rishon LeZion. And what the municipality wanted is to create a space, a laboratory for creativity. So what we designed is this kind of space in which we will put 3D printers, we will put laser cutters, we will put robotics, Arduino, all those new type of tools of the new world, in order for kids to play with them, in order to understand and discover themselves in which way they are creative. So this is a way that education systems are changing from knowledge to skills. Another interesting example is SNR Sons Charitable Trust. It's a chain of universities in India. This is Daniel Weil. Daniel is my business partner. We got invited to go to Tamil Nadu, a big state in India, in order to think about how to design a curriculum that is not academic, that is based on skills. So what we are doing right now there is building a 5-store building, 5-level building. Each level has a different discovery or different training idea behind it. So the first floor will be a community space in order for people to meet, create events, and talk like this one. And the second store is a makerspace, just like the one in school, but much more sophisticated, in order for students to be able to discover how creative they are. The third store is an accelerator for startups. And the fourth floor is an industry floor in which we'll invite companies from all over the city to open offices inside the university in order to be able to connect and network with those students. So university schools are changing from knowledge to skills, but the system is slowly changing. It is changing, which is a good thing, but it's very slowly changing. And as I told you, I am an entrepreneur. I hate to wait. I want to think of ways of how we can all hack the system in order to speed up the change, because we cannot wait for this change to occur. So what I want to do now is to propose 3 different hacks to 3 different types of people who use the education system. So the first hack I want to offer is for politicians. Now I have a lot of things to say about politicians, okay? But I'll try to focus just on one specific thing. I would like you to ask your politician to hire a 15-year-old mentor in their staff. A 15-year-old kid will get a salary to tell the politician what he needs to do. Because politicians do not know what's happening right now. Politicians and us old guys are from the past. Those 15-year-old kids, they live the present and they are the future. So we cannot let our politician to do the decision without having a 15-year-old kid to help them understand what it is. Two interesting examples of forward-thinking kids. So Greta Thunberg is actually getting a lot of media coverage these days with the whole climate change campaign. She's a very forward-thinking kid. So this is one example of the type of kids you will like your politician to have beside him. And the other one is Itai Pinkas. Itai Pinkas is an entrepreneur from Israel. He built more than 50 different technology solutions. And he actually was chosen to be on the Forbes 30 people under 30. It was maybe the youngest one getting on this list. And those type of kids can really help politicians to see what is important right now. The second hack I want to offer is for parents. You need to forget about scorecards and tests. You all know that once you finish university, you do not get any grade anymore. So why do we keep asking our children how well they are doing in school, and we look at grades in order to understand if they are doing good or not? We all know it's not relevant. The second part of the hack is we need to stop asking kids what they want to do when they grow up. Because we all know that we don't have the answer to this question even today. We still don't know. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I just all the time discover new things that interest me. We are all clueless as this guy. So we need to stop asking this question. The third hack I want to offer is for students. And I'm talking about high school students, and university. Everybody who is learning inside the education system. You need to follow your curiosity. I had the chance or the luck to actually go after my curiosity since a very young age. My curiosity got me to very interesting places. I got the opportunity to write a hip-hop song, you can find it on YouTube, who got a lot of airplay in Israel. And I got the opportunity to write a book. I never know how to write a book, but I taught myself. And I taught myself how to publish it on the internet because I wanted to. So curiosity actually led me to do those very interesting stuff. Curiosity also got me a lot of attention for very important people. Because I built my own personal path in life, then a lot of people wanted to hear my ideas. So I was able to consult ministers, mayors, big CEOs, just because I built my own path in life. Nothing else. And the third, maybe the most important, curiosity led me to actually create an impact in the world, a real change in the world. This is a picture from a big competition in Jerusalem, the town that I grew up with. This competition takes 1,200 teachers and children every year for a 24-hour competition involved with technology, and they build solutions for their own classroom. Those teachers and children are creating real change every day for their own sake. And I have to say, this process is actually a very forward-thinking process. And I think that Jerusalem is maybe one of the most innovative cities in terms of education around the world. And this is my point. Curiosity, what you think is important. Curiosity, what you think you should do next. What you see as a thing that creates value for you. Curiosity. Curiosity would lead you to the 21st century. Thank you.